Hello, friends. James Stevenson back with another episode of Who's Hating Hard on Tesla today. Once again, it is the fraud posing behind the fake name Brad Munchen. Hating hard on Tesla today. We'll go to the Lokis Bed Cam and see that Loki is curled up in bed back here. It's maybe not his best side, but there's his head tucked in behind his bun. You can keep an eye on Loki in the Loki's Bed Cam while I turn my attention to this tweet that Motorhead sent on X. He describes himself as Motorhead. And when he appeared on the George Noble audio-only podcast, George referred to him as Motorhead every single time because George knows the identity of the real person behind the fake name Brad Munchen. He refused to call him Brad. Which made those podcasts kind of hard to listen to. You're trying to have a serious conversation about finances and forecasting and equity valuations, and this guy keeps calling the other guy Motorhead the whole time. Most Tesla fanboys don't know finance. Some morons claim they do, like James Stevenson and this guy. Tagging somebody else, MR Bull MKT ever. All right. Never seen that account before, but whatever. Tesla does greater than $10 billion in free cash flow. Your math doesn't add up. Well, that's not the right number for last year. Tesla free cash flow peaked at $7.6 billion in 2022. Also, if Tesla is so cash rich, why'd they finance $3.2 billion in the second half of 2023? So what's this $7.6 billion? It's this number right here. Tesla's positive free cash flow from 2022. Brad Munchen predicted that would be a negative number. He also predicted this would be a negative number in 2023, and he was wrong. His forecast for Tesla was wrong, as usual. If you've been following the fraud posing behind the fake name Brad Munchen for very long, you know his short and long-term predictions for Tesla rarely ever materialize, which I replied with, he didn't tag me probably because he knows your posts won't be viewed by as many people if you tag someone who doesn't follow you in them. So I have never followed this account, yet I see his tweets constantly because I dunk on him so often. The algorithm says, hey, you enjoyed dunking on that idiot last week? Here's some more idiots for you to dunk on this week. We know you like doing that. That's where your social media engagement activity is. So we're going to show you all these idiots, Reality, Facts Chaser, etc., for you to dunk on, because that's your favorite thing to do. So he got 78 likes on that tweet. I got 282 on my reply. You claim to know how to forecast free cash flow for Tesla, but for Q3 you forecast negative $1.7 billion. It was positive $848 million. So you missed by more than $2.5 billion. For Q4 you forecast negative $2.4 billion. It was positive $2.1 billion. So you missed by $4.5 billion. You were directionally wrong on what you yourself describe as the most important metric for Tesla. You can't forecast free cash flow better than people who didn't forecast it, like me. Sad. Yeah. So somebody asked, but why did they finance the $3.2 billion? I left a video description, a video in my reply here, showing you how tiny $3 billion is relative to the size of Tesla's revenue and assets. Among other metrics you can look at, Ford, GM have more like $100 billion worth of long-term liabilities. So $3 billion is not very much. And so some fun replies here. Let's see. It's always a risk hitting the show more. I'm surprised he hasn't blocked you yet, unless he is a fan of your accounting tricks. Yeah, I think he's just really hoping that one day he will be right, Tesla will go to zero, and then he won't have blocked me, and he can say, haha, it was worth it to wait for Tesla to go bankrupt. All right, what was the other one from last week? Well, he didn't tag me in this one either, but he did screenshot me saying, imagine being a hashtag Tesla Furu, which is a slang term for a fake guru, being an imposter, a charlatan, a fraud, like the kind of person who would hide behind a fake name they made up on social media. And tweeting this, I was just trying to explain to him, I said I didn't forecast the statement of cash flows. I didn't say I don't understand cash flows. Who would waste their time forecasting the statement of cash flows? Do you? If so, please reply below with a link to your Tesla quarterly cash flow income statement. And then he did, which is here. I'll show you the screenshot first. A year ago, his expectation was Tesla could lose money this year, and I'm pretty sure they wind up with negative free cash flow. I'm pretty sure they wind up with negative free cash flow, he said 11 months ago. Oh, sorry, FCF stands for free cash flow, which you don't know how to forecast, he claimed. Well, we just saw how good he is at forecasting free cash flow, missing by about $4 billion on a full year number that was about $4 billion. That's a pretty bad forecast. Screenshotting me here saying, I do not forecast the statement of cash flows or the balance sheet for that matter. I do track capital spending and free cash flow actuals as Tesla reports them, and then I make charts and videos about operating cash flows and free cash flow periodically. It's a waste of time to forecast cash flows or the balance sheet for companies that aren't going bankrupt, because the numbers are just going to depend on what internal financing decisions the CFO makes about when to borrow money, when to spend money on what, etc. It's a waste of your time to try to forecast the cash flows. They're just going to be whatever they are. The next screenshot here is the positive 15 billion worth of GAAP net income Tesla reported. More than 10 billion worth of non-GAAP net income in full year 2023. Brad claimed these would be negative numbers in the screenshot we just saw. And here's the positive 4.4 billion almost dollars worth of free cash flow left over after Tesla paid for all of its capital expenditures from its net cash provided by operating activities. The operating cash flows of the business generated $13.3 billion worth of cash, which was more than Tesla spent on assets that have long lives, that get depreciated over time. These are, factory robots and factories and anything else you would make assets out of for your company. There you go. That's my video for this week. That is Who's Hating Hard on Tesla Today. It is Motorhead, Brad Munchen, once again, and I enjoyed dunking on him, as I have many times in the past, over the past week, right, Loki? Yes? Alright, well, with that, I will outro by reminding you to like the video if you didn't like the video yet. You can click the heart button if you're watching this video on X, or the thumbs up if you're watching this video on YouTube. Thank you to everybody who supports me. A special shout out to my two executive producers, Kathy Kitchler and Rebellionaire.com, and I'll see you in the next one.